Hey, Kelsey, Norm MacDonald here. So, you have a podcast, huh? Fantastic. You know what I always say? You know what the world needs more of? Podcasts.
Live from the Screwball Whiskey Studios, The Kelsey Hudgins Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, live from the Screwball Whiskey Studios, indeed. Right upstairs of our house. Goodness gracious alive. It is a good day to be alive, and any day that we are alive is a good day to drink Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. The one and only original peanut butter whiskey. Go get yourself a couple bottles and drink them responsibly. You'll wish that you had two if you only get one, is all I'm talking about. Goodness gracious alive. Drink the Screwball. Also, a shout out to the Boss Man brands for giving me the cool beard products that I've been using lately. Really digging them. I got to release another video. I want to start this one out saying that I did release a shower stream on the Patreon. There is a Patreon. There is a link in. Is there a link in the description of this video? I don't know if there's a link. Actually, I'm going to make sure to get that in there at some point while we do this. But yeah, the great Boss Man brands, check them out. Go grab you some products from them, bossmanbrand.com. I got the beard, hair, and body bar, and I got the Magic Scent conditioner and that really neat bristle brush, the boar's hair nylon bristle brush. And man, all my beard has this thing of like where it'll intertwine into itself, but this has a nice way of separating them all so that makes it look fuller and longer. Boy, oh boy, if only there was a brush for other things, JP.
That's right.
To make them full and long.
Wish we could just brush a lot of things full and long.
Boy, I'm telling you. Man, there's a few things to get into today about some things going on out in the world. One of which is, man, this alien thing, the UFO stuff that's been happening. There's a lot of people who I've seen on the internet talking about all the stuff going on with this. I don't know anything, but it seems like from this video we just watched a little bit ago that
should we play the video too?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there was the great Sinead O'Connor as well. But yeah, there was something going on with there's more questions than answers in this stuff. So it doesn't seem like I think that there's something else going on, that they're using this as a giant distraction. There we go.
Have been reported but never explained. We're going to uncover the cover-up.
Oh boy.
We need the testimony to American lawmakers. The truth is not only out there, it's in the hands of the U.S. government.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
Oh man.
Air Force intelligence officer claims the U.S. has secret knowledge of vehicles that defy explanation. UFOs, or what the military calls unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Have you met with people with direct knowledge or have direct knowledge yourself of non-human origin craft?
Yes.
Retired Major David Brush testified the U.S. has not only recovered craft, but in some cases their occupants, though he admits he hasn't seen it himself.
Biologics came with some of these recoveries. Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to.
Brush was flanked.
So he's just.
Pilots who say they've personally seen things in the sky.
So is he just like hearsay? He said, she said this thing, and they're taking it to court. He didn't see it.
I think he has a lot of the information, and the Congress people are trying to figure out what to do now that the government does know that it has information.
Got it. Huh.
Denies claims of a cover-up. Some of the sightings have been ruled out with less interesting explanations, like weather balloons.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and it is a long walk from triangles in the sky to this must be aliens.
Without firm answers, those who've witnessed UAPs argue there needs to be more government transparency over what
Yeah.
the unknown. Jackson Frosto.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like I want to believe this stuff, but I also want to know what they're really trying to distract everybody from, because that's got to be a thing. I did a podcast a long time ago where I suggested that every time some big news story came out, that everybody go and look at what bills were trying to be passed in Congress, because they're always trying to slip something past you. But this is a big thing, and this has been going on, especially after the the Jeremy Corbell stuff with Bob Lazar. Did you watch any of that stuff?
Yeah, that Bob Lazar stuff was very interesting.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like if that they were trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Like delegitimize him, like to make him look less legitimate than he actually is, so that people wouldn't pay attention to any of the stuff that he said. But this is odd.
Yeah, I think a lot of times there's counter intel.
Yeah,
they run counter intel programs to try to cover the truth, so they can kind of control narratives.
That sounds right. Man, I hate that. Why do they do this to us?
I think a lot of people in the government might be well-meaning, but they do it to try to protect some form of integrity that the government has, when we really know that it's tough to be a government and have integrity.
That's 100% true. And these people, man, I don't know. I wonder if this guy is a plant, if they're just putting him in there to be the face of this. All right, we're going to put you out there to just give the information that we got. Don't tell them about all of this other stuff. I can't report on this right now or whatever have you.
Yeah, I plead the fifth kind of type stuff, right?
Plead the fifth on most of it.
I can't incriminate myself, but yeah, shit's going on.
Yeah, plead the fifth on most of it, but, give them enough to keep them interested. So that's the thing now. Apparently, we're admitting, in a way, is that kind of what's happening? Like they're sort of, didn't they release some kind of information last year about having some knowledge of UAPs?
Yeah, I think last year's thing was the Pentagon. So the Pentagon was saying that, yes, we do have a department looking into a lot of these phenomenon, they call them. They don't want us outright say that, this is what it is, but they just have things that happen in the skies that they have no, idea what type of craft these are or what type of physics they're running on. And
I thought that they used to be unidentified aerial phenomena, which is what Bob Lazar called them, but I think they're calling them unidentified anomalic phenomena.
Or anomalies.
It's
UAPs. They don't want to call them UFOs, but they're now starting to call them UAPs.
That sounds like a missile. A UAP sounds like a missile or something. But yeah, it's the age of whistleblowers, huh? That's what's happening now. A bunch of people coming out just saying all these different things. I'd like to be curious what the biological or non-human is, like non-human biology that they found at these sites. Yeah. And apparently if he's not even privy to exactly what it was, he was just told there were things that they found.
Yeah, I think from the Bob Lazar information, he said they're all very compartmentalized. So, the departments that are doing these things are all separated. They have no communication between each other. So there's not, any sharing of information. And I think that was like one of
That's
Bob
by
Lazar's
design.
main complaints, that like they would know so much more if it wasn't compartmentalized.
Right.
But I think they're doing that in like efforts of secrecy.
Man, how can you trust somebody, an entity that tries this hard to hide things? I mean, there's that. Can't trust them. All right. I don't know. I like to think that there is something out there, but man, I don't know. This could just be a make us look. And what's funny is that this comes out today and like nobody's really talking about it. Like the only other than my boy Chris Ramsey, I haven't really seen anybody like posting or in the people that I follow. Nobody had really talked about what happened. I guess it's only been one day, so maybe over the weekend more people get a hold of it. But aliens, and then the great Sinead O'Connor, the man Hillary Clinton. She's at it again. She got Sinead O'Connor after getting Obama's chef. Did you know? I heard that Obama had 2 chefs that both died in drowning accidents.
I heard recently this past week that happened to one. We can pull that article up as well.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize there was another one.
Someone told me there was 2. Somebody that I trust told me there was another one. I didn't look into it. I should have. I'm just saying it now in front of the world without having looked into it. But Sinead O'Connor, fun fact, her biggest hit, Nothing Compares to You, was written by the great and powerful Prince. And not a lot of people know that. But what a lot of people know even less than that is that he gave her the song, no strings attached, no royalties. He gave it to her. This is your song now. You can have this. And he took no money from it for all those years, and all as well as she did with it. He didn't take anything for that song. I like to one of my things whenever I was playing with the band for a long time back home was anytime artists would pass away, we would really hit their catalog hard for a couple of weeks, just mainly to show respect to, one of us that's gone. So I might do a little Nothing Compares to You tonight at the Secret Show. By the way, there's a spot for a plug. I'm going to be opening up the Secret Show in about 2 hours. And if you guys are in the Austin area and you're watching this live right now, you should come out to the Secret Show tonight. It's going to be a fire lineup. I have seen it. It is a secret lineup, so I can't tell you who's going to be on it, but I'm telling you, you're going to want to be there. JP here said he wasn't. He might hang tight tonight, but I mentioned a couple names on the lineup. He said he might be interested in going. So you also might be interested in going. And if you don't watch this right now in real time and you're seeing it sometime before Friday, July 28th, that's tomorrow, I am going to be doing a stand-up comedy set at Wanderlust with Yuck It Up Comedy, the great Lauren Jamieson's show. I'm going to be doing a little set there tomorrow. That show starts at 7:30. I'm going to be going up sometime close to the beginning because I will be working and I'll have to leave work to go do my spot and come back. It'll be the first time I've done that as a working comedian at a comedy club. So that'll be fun. Go and do a spot, come back to work. What sucks is if I'll go and I'll bomb, and then I got to go back to work, and I just got to be there and just eat the bomb the whole shift. That'll be fun. Anyway, the great and powerful Sinead O'Connor. Rest in peace. What if Sinead O'Connor was an alien and she had to go back home because they talked about her people? Apparently her son committed suicide not long ago.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's the end of that story. Boy, what a way to make you guys feel upbeat about life on a Thursday, huh?
Do we want to talk about the chef?
Yeah, let's talk about the chef. So, let's see. He was found deceased in water 100 feet from the shore. Now, I know that this is big news right now. Anytime somebody that is close to a powerful family like that, when they pass, there's going to be some question marks up. But I heard that it was the second. I heard that it was the second of his chefs who passed. Tafari Campbell.
So this is the most recent chef, which is a tragedy. I think
it is.
Drowning is possibly one of the worst ways
100%.
to go, without maybe fire being like the top.
Fire and water, the two worst things you can go by. That is a tragedy.
I guess we could look up what the other chef was. You got to be careful in the ocean too. Those rip currents, even if you're a strong swimmer, if they get you, you're not. It's very hard to get back to shore.
Yeah, I lived in Myrtle Beach for all those years, and I maybe went to the actual ocean outside of that 1 year that I worked on the beach. I did work for beach services for a while when I was in a relationship, and she was all about the beach, so we would go all the time, and I worked there. But outside of that year, I maybe went a couple dozen times, if that, into the water. I don't like to get in the water. I would go to the beach and play gigs at spots that overlook the ocean way more often than I would actually go there recreationally. I'm not a big fan of, I've always said God put me on land and I trust him. I don't care much about the water. It's not my thing. And another thing is like when I was growing up, like nobody in my family or nobody in close proximity to my family or family friends, we never had boats or anything we would go out in. I know a lot of people in the South grow up on rivers and lakes and shit, and I didn't. So it wasn't something that I was into growing up, so I don't think that it was something that I care about now. But yeah, man, I'm good. There's enough shit that can kill you on land, and we don't even know what's in the ocean because we haven't seen it all, so I'm good on that.
So I'm seeing a lot of articles about it was a paddleboarding accident.
Yeah.
So he went out. They found him, like we said, 100 feet offshore, about 8 feet depth. He's survived by his wife and two boys. So it's a tragedy, it really is. You gotta be careful out there.
R.I.P. dog.
So there was another chef, but I don't know if it was Obama's chef, but there was a White House executive chef to the presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, who similarly died of suspected foul play.
In water?
I think he was found dead in New Mexico, but he went there to go hiking.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Man.
I'm not seeing anything else about another like ex-president or president chef dying.
Presidential secrets. Yeah, that's wild. A lot of death. Today marks the 1 or 2 year anniversary of my Uncle Roger's passing. I always tell people at my gigs to like do something nice for somebody and don't tell anybody that you did it. And I always say, just that's for me. If you like the way that feels, keep doing it. The reason I do that is my Uncle Roger would do that. He would just show up to people. My dad told a story about how right after my uncle passed, he was at the grocery store, and this old lady he had never met walked up to him and said, "Are you Roger Hudgins' brother?" And he said, "Yes, ma'am." She said one day she was outside raking her leaves, and she didn't know Roger. She didn't know who he was, but she was outside raking her leaves, and Roger just literally saw her doing that, pulled his truck up to her house, got out with a rake, and he pulled a rake off the back of his truck because that's who he was. He kept shit like that with him. And he walked over and helped her rake her leaves up and just told her have a good day, got back in his truck and left. And she said that she had never told anybody about that until she saw my dad at the grocery store that day. So it's like at the end of his life, all these people who had all these stories about him ended up coming out, and that was just one of them. So I like the thought of going out and putting good into the world and doing things like that without seeking any kind of recognition or credit for it. A lot of death going on. But there's also a lot of life. Boy, oh boy, let me tell you about the life. Man, I've been struggling to write lately, and I got these new songs that came out that I dropped on my SoundCloud the other day. Talked to my roommate, Gnarly Parker, we call him, Tony Fat Hands. You might know him on the Instagrams as. We're going to start recording some albums or another album soon. We're going to start recording more of these songs. I got like 4, I think, full band recordings already that we got to master and mix a little better. And then we're going to start dropping some more. It's going to be a full-length album. I think we're going to do about 10 tracks on this record. That's going to be life, breathing life into things. I should have smoked before I did this. I feel weird when I haven't smoked yet.
Well, you got some work coming up, so.
Yeah, we got some stuff to do. I got a little number rolled up for the drive in. By the way, the truck has been fixed. Have we talked about that? Was that happened? I think the truck was broke when I did the last episode the other day, right? Yeah,
it was broke.
I think it was broke. We got the old...
Do you want to give a shout out to...
Michael Ridley, my boy, the great and powerful, at Chinky Sweat on Instagram. Don't come after me. That's his name. I want you to follow him if you see this, and you're probably already following him. It's at CHINKY Sweat on all social media, I think, but definitely Instagram. But yeah, dude, the great and powerful Michael Ridley, he took a video of me driving back up. And after he stopped the video, he laughed for like 3 minutes, and I couldn't, I guess from his perspective, it was a pretty funny thing that happens. Oh, shit, what do we got here? Something landed near Texas?
Shout out to Michael Ridley. He's such a G.
Michael Ridley is a G.
But this is some local news. I don't know if it was in the news recently. There's a mysterious company that bought $800 million worth of land close to our Air Force Base here in Austin, the Travis Air Force Base. And it's kind of scaring some people. It's been in the news that nobody knows. I guess it's under a shell company, possibly. I'll have to wait for the ad before we can listen to
a shell company, meaning a company that's like...
Yeah, let's listen to it.
Okay. Damn.
And that's nearly double the size of San Francisco. Yet no one, not even the federal government, can figure out who's behind it. And more importantly, why. Federal officials say a mysterious company has purchased nearly $1 billion of land surrounding Travis Air Force Base, one of the most critical military bases in the western U.S.
Oh, boy.
Democratic Congressman John Garamendi raised the alarm to the U.S. Air Force, prompting a federal investigation.
In your briefings on the matter, do you have any reason to believe the purchase of this land is for spying?
I have every reason in the world to believe that this land is in an area in which spy operations or any other nefarious activity could take place that could detrimentally impact the ability of Travis Air Force Base to operate moment of national emergency.
Public records show the company, Flannery Associates LLC, began purchasing.
Oh no, Flannery.
And investigators say those acquisitions ramped up this year.
Now, literally,
Oh boy.
of that base was totally controlled by the Flannery Group. Nobody knew who they were. Who are these people? Where did they get the money that they could pay 5 to 10 times the normal value that others would pay for this farmland?
8 months of investigation, yet
Yeah, that's
Know where this money's coming.
sketchy.
do you have any reason to believe China is tied to this group?
I have reason to be concerned.
Garamendi, an attorney representing Flannery Associates, indicated the firm is made up of a group of families, 97% of whom are allegedly American, looking to diversify their portfolio from equities to real assets, including agricultural land. But the congressman is skeptical.
Well, we have heard scheme after scheme. That makes no sense at all. We're going to build a deep water port. Really? Around Travis Air Force Base, which is 10 miles from the bay? We're going to farm. Well, at that price, you're going to lose a lot of money farming. We're going to build a city. No, you're not going to build a city here for all kinds of reasons. So none of the reasons why the land is being acquired make any sense at all.
What do you think is happening?
I don't know.
According to Garamendi,
Damn.
Associates is also
A straight up, I don't know.
state electrical grid system all the way from the Columbia River into central California. This includes land that houses wind turbines that provide significant power into northern California.
It's the secrecy here. What's going on? If you're not a nefarious operation, why are you keeping it secret?
So that's in.
So that's in California. I was incorrect.
I saw the
I thought it was
Travis.
Yeah, I thought it was
Travis
County
County.
Air Force Base.
It's like, oh snap.
No, this is California. Never mind. Not a Texas story.
You know, do you think? Well, everybody's very, very scared of China, and they always bring up. They always bring up China in it. Like, do you have reason to fear that China is behind it? And he's like, just very like, well, I'll say this. I know that in just my little part of the world in South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach, there is a lot of Chinese interest groups that have bought up a lot of like dilapidated golf courses and such. And they have just built all of these condos and like housing developments and stuff on these golf like the land where these golf courses were. And I believe that Chinese companies do own a lot of farmland in Texas. Like a lot of the commercial farming, I believe, is owned by an alarming amount of it, I think, are owned by non-American folk.
So try to get back to the Texas stories, at least one, per podcast. This was an Austin subreddit of a guy trying to transport his refrigerator and washing machine in his compact car on 135.
Man, you never... Jesus. You never know what you're going to get in Austin. That's for sure. Dude, Austin is like, it's like a wormhole. Like where things I think can appear and disappear. Like it just, this place is crazy. They say keep Austin weird. It's definitely not getting any less weird. You know, something else I've noticed, and like I remember it was very jarring for me when I moved here about the homeless situation, because I didn't have any experience with the homeless until I got here. Really, back home, they live in the woods and they camp in the woods. Like you would never see them sleeping on the street. Like you might see them, carting their stuff down the road every now and again, but that's very rare. But dude, they've been getting like super I don't know, bold lately, or if it's just more like something's in retrograde or whatever, that nonsense. But man, they've been like getting really bold lately and like just aggressive and asking around, like asking for things.
There is a correlation, I believe, with the heat. So this was also another story in Austin. We had another person that passed away under a bridge. I know it's the summer of death.
Yeah.
But he was possibly living there. This is like, I think, the fourth body in 5 days with all this high heat we've been having.
Damn. That's right down the road from where I work. 7th and 35. Man, that's literally like 4 blocks from the club.
And this seemed to happen like 4 days ago.
Yeah, I was watching. Tony Hinchcliffe was on Your Mom's House, and they were talking about the quote unquote the potential serial killer in Austin, and yeah, apparently it's like all like they were trying to make a joke, I think, about it being homeless people that were ending up being found dead. But I wasn't under that impression. I didn't think they were homeless. I thought they were people that were just partying on Rainy Street.
Yeah, it's a lot of younger men on Rainy Street are the victims. And they I don't know if they wanted to link the their particular I don't know how I should put it, sexual preference.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed to be that the serial killer was targeting.
Man, I think it is very possible, especially for somewhere like Austin with as many new people that are coming into town, and the turnover rate is ridiculous. Like I believe that you could see somebody every day for a while and then not see them again, and it would almost not be abnormal in certain circles, just with the rate of people like coming and going back home, and some people just lose their minds because Austin is a crazy place. So it could go under the radar. It could be an ideal place for a serial killer to work. Boy, that sounds suspicious, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. But, like we shouldn't be defunding police, I don't believe. I know the city wants to do that, but I think the police should probably be held to a higher account and have more training.
Right.
And I think they just go hand in hand. You can't just take money from them and expect them to be accountable. They're going to be less accountable.
Man, this is gonna be a doozy of an episode. And those who watched any MI stuffs back in the day, we had a few doozies. Where we kind of just talk about a lot of like the weirder stuff that's going on. Anyway, yesterday, I don't know if he cares if I talk about this, but I'm gonna. One of my buddies that I work with, Mikey Biggs, was out barking for the shows last night at Sunset Strip, and when we came back, he was like a little shook, and I was like, "You all right, man?" He was like, "Dude, just there was this lady, I just had to call the cops on this lady who kept trying to like wheel her. She was in a wheelchair. She kept trying to wheel herself into oncoming traffic, and just over and over kept doing that, like kept trying to wheel herself into traffic." And Mikey was like, "Dude, I was just trying to help her out or whatever, like trying to convince her to not do whatever it was she was trying to do." And then apparently the cops showed up and they laughed at the woman. Like, just, that seems really, really, really messed up. Like, they just show up and laugh like that. That's not right, right? Like, if I get the whole defunding thing, and then again, from their perspective, I don't know how I would feel if people as a whole like discounted my entire job. Like, but I don't know what comes first, the defunding or the loss of care for the job. So if it's like they don't care about the job, then we defund them.
Well, I think the defunding makes them care less about their job.
Exactly.
And it also takes away overtime. And kind of in my experience where I work, when you take away overtime from a group of people, they kind of get upset because it's like taking money that they've grown a lifestyle to living off of. And I'm not agreeing saying that we should always give them overtime, but I think there should be a limit.
Yeah, dude, overtime is a thing. Like I've worked jobs here at like the club that I worked at before sunset, like where I would, some weeks I would work, 56 hours and I never got a drop of overtime. But I think that is different for like gig work where we're like 1099 or whatever. But then they started taking taxes out, and I think they cut down on the overtime stuff after that. But if somebody's putting in that kind of effort, they deserve some.
Yeah, and think about the situation where they might get called out to a call, and they've got to transport somebody. Something's going on. They're not going to say, "Oh, it's past my time. I'm clocked out. I'm going home." They've actually got to stay there and finish the job. They were the first one there, so it makes it difficult. But they're in a tough spot. Police work is tough work, and I can understand why a lot of them would be jaded against common people, but they shouldn't take it out on them. And I think they need more training, more support.
Yeah, they do. And the whole all I ever see the cops doing really is enforcing parking and like parking tickets. So it seems like they shifted their energies towards the types of things that will make them money, like parking tickets and such, rather than, because I don't think they make any money off of like arresting someone for committing a crime.
Yeah, so, what it's not a money thing. It's more of like a job satisfaction score from the city, right?
Yeah.
So the city gives them a budget and they say, "Oh, we've stopped this many crimes or we've responded to this many calls." So if you can inflate your numbers, you can theoretically ask for more money from the city. And I think one of the biggest costs to running a city is your first responders, your police, your firefighters, And
man, there's a lot for him to do there, but it's silly. And Gary Faust is doing this. He's doing this petition. I think I might have mentioned this on the last episode, where he's trying to get a petition together to abolish the parking, because like we have to pay for our parking spots or get tickets if we don't. Yet people get to literally just live on the sidewalk. It seems. And maybe that's me being an idiot or me being, unacceptant of the homeless situation. I had this conversation with Ty Rivera the other day. I think that someone who has a decent amount of dollars is much more accepting of the homeless population than a poor person. Like a poor person who struggles to pay bills and make money and still goes to work and still like has a house and things like that, but just really struggles to pay for it, has no sympathy for people literally just sleeping on a sidewalk. And I get it. Mental health is a rough situation, and drug use is a really shitty situation, but I suffer from both of those things in my lifetime. Like I had drug issues for years, and I'm a crazy person. Like I never got to that point. But if they can sleep on the sidewalk and just literally live downtown free of charge, why am I having to pay for parking? I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like the parking situation in Austin, at least, they should have come to these businesses who have the parking decks and saying, "Hey, we're going to subsidize some part of your land tax, right, that they have to pay." to provide more public parking, that the public during certain hours, certain times could use those facilities without having to pay.
At least the people who are working. Like, at least for the employees in that area.
You're paying taxes. You're paying your income is downtown. You're paying these taxes, and you're not seeing the benefit of having a free parking so you can get to your job.
Right. Like, and especially in, like, high traffic weekends, like, or weeks, like something like South by, when if you don't find, you're not going to find street parking anywhere because of how much of the downtown they close off. So you're not going to find street parking anywhere, and then you still have to get to your job. It just costs a lot of money. Austin is very expensive, man. I wasn't prepared for this. I was thinking about this the other day, like thinking, oh, yeah, rent's a little higher, and I'm sure the price of things are a little bit higher. But I don't think I averaged in how much more expensive things would be here than they are back home. Like, back home, I could live off of $1,000. I don't know. I could live off of $1,500 a month back home, dude. It takes so much more than that here. Just the price of things, it's pretty ridiculous. And I don't have to tell you this, but I did the math, and like, thank God for Brian Redband keeping the secret shows as an option for me to play. But I've lost a few gigs over the last few months, and I was doing the math. Like, I've lost more, like upwards of $800 a month in gigs that just aren't coming around anymore because, tickets drop down on some of the comedy shows and, other things that have happened. But like, and I don't know if I really need to bring this up, but I'm gonna, because it's my show and I can. August will be our last month as a sponsor of Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, which we're very grateful for. But Screwball is shutting down their music sponsorship wing as of next month. Like, they're giving us a 30-day. I don't even know. Like, what are they going to do? Cancel my sponsorship? It's already happening. So, like, what can they do? Which I'm very grateful, and I'm proud of my brother and everybody. They sold the company, so now that the company moved on to bigger and a bigger conglomerate, they're worried that some of the sponsors will say or do something that they'll have to. Honestly, it could be me.
No, it's the Bud Light situation.
You think so?
I think it is. Yeah, I think a lot of the corporate style of beverage and distribution has to follow these kind of like guidelines from these other companies. And when that Bud Light situation happened, I think it caused a lot of them to second think like how they're doing their marketing. Yeah.
That makes a little more sense than I was thinking. But yeah, they're just scaling down. It just seems like that. I believe that. Do you, JP? You're more in tune with like the economic and financial state of things. Do you feel like we are approaching a soft recession?
So I think we are currently in one.
Yeah.
And this is like, it lags. Like, the real economy lags whatever data that the Fed is getting.
Right.
So the Fed is kind of like every 3 months they come back and look at it, right?
Yeah.
So they always adjust their interest rates. I think we're in a period where they're going to keep interest rates high. I don't think they're going to go higher. I think we're in just kind of like the plateau period of rising rate interest. And I think next year you'll start seeing a lot more of those effects in the economy. It'll start slowing or kind of remain kind of similar. In my own personal, industry, car loans have dropping off very fast. Usually those are like one of the things, like, you kind of need a car to get to work for most American cities.
Right.
So if people can't go out and get loans to get a new car so that it's reliable to get to work. It has like a knockdown effect on the rest of the economy. As far as like Austin is concerned, though, I think it's a lot it's a bustling city. Like, people want to move here. I think in the last few years, 1 million people, almost doubled the size of the city in just a short time span. So prices have just gone crazy because you have all this demand and not enough of the supply of things and services.
Yeah, man. It's not fun to think about. I tweeted that the other day, like, welcome to the recession, folks. Because it's totally what's happening. But I felt like we were sort of, had we come out of the recession since 2008, really?
Yeah, so after 2 years of 2008, they won't say it's the real economy, but Wall Street was pretty much made whole after those 2 years. Yeah. So about 2010, 2011, it started picking back up again. There was another issue in 2016 that kind of caused some scare, and of course the whole COVID thing, and we're still reeling from all the decisions of printing a lot of money during COVID. So it's they say every 10 years you're supposed to go through a recession. You should never lead to a depression. That would be the worst case, right? But it's been about 13 years since 2008. So we've had about a 13-year bull run.
So
now it's the recession time for a year or two.
Let's hope we don't get another Great Depression, because it could happen, especially, and honestly, we're experiencing this in like arguably the largest city in America.
It's one of the hottest. It's one of the hottest cities in America to move to.
For sure.
I wouldn't say it's the largest. I think the Texas Triangle, the area between Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston, is probably going to become the largest kind of like, I don't know what you would call it, area of growth the U.S. is going to see. And I think eventually Texas will probably overtake California, kind of like how California overtook New York in the past for population growth.
Yeah. But I mean, we're experiencing that here. I'd imagine that it must be much worse in like some rural areas with like heavy farmlands and stuff like that. Do you think, or what do you think it'd be better there?
I think with the rise of like remote working, I think that a lot of people could live a more rural lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because not everybody wants to live in the city, but cities are kind of where all the jobs are. So a lot of times people feel like they're forced to kind of live there or live an hour out and live in suburbia, right?
Yeah. Man, what a time to be alive. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
So it's about 6 o'clock. I didn't know if you wanted to...
I was just checking that. I do got to head downtown shortly. We're going to do that opening of the secret show. That's going to be starting around 7:30, 7:45, give or take. Give people enough time to trickle in. And then tomorrow we got the Wanderlust show, Yuck It Up comedy, the great and powerful Lauren Jameson. That's going to be myself, my boy Connor Nutt, and my boy Jason Rouse doing that show with Lauren. And we're doing our Sunset Strip staff showcase every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. And we've also been doing some staff showcase shows on Saturdays, but the Saturdays are kind of like a one-off thing most times, but we may end up having one of those tomorrow night. Just keep your eye out on my Instagram at Yonder Wizard, ZZERD, and watch my stories. I will post there or on my actual page somewhere if we're going to be having those, because I'm going to be on all of them that I can. And other than that, shout out to Screwball. It's been a really good run. This is going to be our last month of pushing that product as hard as we have been. And it's been a very good run. And they've made it, I pushed them all the way to the top. You know, and now they gotta get a more attractive, younger wife. I'm just kidding.
Do you feel like you've been divorced? I think we should do something special here in 30 days. Like the last time we go on, we should do, maybe we have, some special callers to talk about, some stuff.
Yeah, we'll do something special. We'll try to get some people in here. That might be fun. We'll take some calls on some of these shows. And I usually would, for the longest time, I just stare at the camera and just talk to myself or whoever's in the chat for all of the episodes that we've done so far. But this is more fun. It's like, it feels like an actual thing. Like this is an event. The studio feels comfortable. It's like we're doing a real thing instead of me just turning on a camera in my room. So this is I'm enjoying this part of it. But anyway, I think that's all I got. Listen to my music's Kelsey Hudgins on Spotify, my SoundCloud, Linktree /YonderWizard, Linktree.com or linktr.ee/YonderWizard, ZZERD is all my links to all of my things. Yes, the Patreon. The Patreon is there. So far, I've uploaded 2 new videos to the Patreon that you guys can check out. I'm probably going to be taking some more videos tonight in the green room at Secret Show. Those will be uploaded to the Patreon. And, yeah, if you want, jump in there and drop a pledge in if you'd like. You got anything for him, JP?
So definitely like and subscribe to Kelsey's show. We're hoping to kind of up our content creation here and maybe get a few more different style shows in and just good things coming.
Hell yeah, good things are coming. All right, do something nice for somebody. Don't tell anybody that you did it. It's called pulling a Roger. And be good people. It's that easy. Not that hard.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Roll Tide.